forecasting a rain bomb and a heat wave at the same time. So tiresome. And what's more tiresome about it is like there are new terms that have been introduced into British weather because we realised that some of the stuff we were doing was modelled on American weather scales, and it doesn't work the same because some of our weather is needs to be broken down a little bit more because it's not as intense, for instance, or for various other reasons. So you're seeing a lot about rain. If you may have heard the phrase "rain bomb," not for once this year, but twice they've mentioned it. And all the years I've been studying weather, I've never heard of a rain bomb because it's just a made-up media name. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's a couple of things it could be, and that is a bunch of thunderstorms. And oh, guess what? I'm looking at a thunderstorm warning for the south, actually quite a bigger area. So what? So bear in mind, July is the month where we generally tend to get the best weather, generally speaking, as in the highest temperatures at night and daytime. Um, the record hottest day is always switched in between July and August, August, and that gives you the sort of wrong impression because that suggests that August is as hot, whereas most of August isn't as good as our July. But the hottest days, because everything's been warmed up, can rival July. So the hottest temperature every time we reset the record is constantly switching from July to August to July to August. I think at the moment the hottest temperature ever recorded is back in July again. And I think that for the last 12 months, the hottest temperature is July again. Well, that would make sense anyway, but you know what I'm trying to say. So what's actually happening is you've got a heat wave that's coming to an end. And what happens when a heat wave comes to an end is that heat sometimes will clash with whatever weather's coming at it, which will be usually weather from the Atlantic will smash into it. You've got hot versus cold. Hot versus cold creates thunderstorms, creates what you get, especially in July in this country. July, as well as being one of the warmest months, one of some of the nicest months, because of the amount of rain dropped from every single thunderstorm cloud and shower cloud, it can be also the wettest month of the year. Even though it may not be, even though it may only rain 3 days, you may get 3 months rain out of that. You may get a month's rain out of that, but it will drop an awful lot of rain if it does rain in that way this time of year. So in that way, it's a bomb of rain, but it's just nobody calls it that. They call them thunderstorms. And the only other thing that there is that could be compared to it is something called an MPA, which stands for mesoscale precipitation area. Mesoscale meaning a huge, large area. Precipitation is rain. Area speaks for itself. From below, what that looks like is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of grey sky with some whiter bits and some darker bits, but it goes on for miles. And you're normally faced with two different types of weather: rain or heavier rain. Sometimes it'll even have thunderstorms in it. And like I say, it's a few hundred miles across, and it's called a mesoscale precipitation area because if you look at it from above, you'll see some places where there's big towers where there's thunderstorms. You'll see other places where it's flat. It's not until you see it from above you realise that it's this massive, great area where there's sort of shower clouds appearing randomly all over the place. Some big, some, but you can't see it from below. It just looks all the same. But from above, hundreds and hundreds of miles of rain. But again, it's called a mesoscale precipitation area, and it doesn't really represent what they're trying to say this rain bomb is. I don't think any weather person can tell you what a rain bomb is because it's something they've made up in the last, I think, 3 months. So yeah, no idea what it means. It's like they keep trying to make new names for storms, for certain types of storms in the winter and that. And sometimes we just get a cold blast from the east. And they keep trying to call it the beast from the east. And it literally, it's quite embarrassing. And I get embarrassed that other countries see this because it's literally just when we get some winter weather in the winter. It really is. It's just when the weather changes to a certain direction, that actually means we get cold weather as opposed to mild weather in the winter. It's embarrassing, but this is our country. And I say this because this is the country where, especially down south here, you get 2 centimeters, not inches, 2 centimeters of snow, and people will go and empty the shop shelves as though the apocalypse is coming. So this does affect people's mindsets. And by the way, they are now forecasting a 4th heat wave, and we have technically still only had one. It's incredible. They are going to go with the narrative regardless of truth. So all round, I mean, I know that many of you out there have got suspicions about the weather anyway, but in terms of weather prediction and stuff like that, all round it's been a very disappointing year to see just how much more these weather reporters are just jumping on board this climate change thing, but also how desperate they are. Like I say, they were forecasting 39 on a 29 degrees Celsius day. That's a lot to get wrong. And I think it's because of the mindset they're in. They're desperate for them. They're desperate to be right. And that is not a scientific way of looking at anything. If you're desperate to be right about the weather or about anything else, you don't get to call yourself a scientist, because scientists' first job is to go out and prove themselves wrong. If they've got an idea, it is their duty to go and prove themselves wrong. If they can't do that, they then submit that to their peers to try and prove wrong. If it then can't be proven wrong, then it becomes a very interesting theory that could lead somewhere. That's what their community is supposed to believe in. It doesn't come across that way, does it? Anyway, it's my another little blowout about the weather. But this talk about rain bombs and that, like I say, I find it embarrassing to think other countries ever hear any of this, because it means nothing, guys. It just means that we're going to have a month's worth of rain, probably in a few hours. And I mean, severe weather, don't get me wrong, but normally we just call them thunderstorms. So I don't know why we're calling it a rain bomb. It's just a collection of thunderstorms. So again, maybe someone needs to sell a copy of something. I don't know, but I'm not saying don't take it as serious weather. I'm just saying, thunderstorms would have done, and you would have known exactly what it meant. In fact, it would have been a little bit more descriptive, because rain bombs just suggest someone's going to come over the water with the balloon and pop it, doesn't it? It's the thunderstorms you need to watch out for, especially with the kind of two airs that are smashing into each other, because if it causes turbulence, that could cause tornadoes. Not saying it will, I haven't got enough info, but those are the sort of things you should be watching out for. Anyway, I'll catch you soon. Tom Fury.